Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is the daily update from the Ukrainian front, as I am trying to do it daily. Bring two articles, one from the Ukrainian side and the other one from the Russian side, and see where they match, where they don't match, they run parallel, when they contradict, and so on. The Ukrainian article that I'm going to use, it's a how should I put it, article made out of words and paragraphs. The Russian one is structured differently. It is a map with bullets, and if you access each bullet, it will tell you what happened in that area. The Ukrainians are starting their update, starting from Chernihiv Oblast, which is in the north of Ukraine, going to the northeast with Sumy Oblast, and going the east, and then southeast, and then south. So the Russians have the whole front with bullets of different colors. You're gonna see in a second what I'm talking about. My friends who have seen this before know exactly what is going to happen here. So this article comes from Ukraine Forum. It is from today, the 27th of February 2023, and this is the evening update at 7:38 p.m. Kiev time. And here it says the enemy attempting to advance an increasing number of personnel in 5 directions. And here is the Russian map from the 27th of February 2023. As I said, they start, the Ukrainians usually start with Chernihiv, the Russians call it Chernigov, and go to Sumy, Kharkiv, Russians call it Kharkov. Then you have here Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporozhye. Then they go here to Kherson. That's what happened. The Ukrainians go from, as I said, north, northeast, east, southeast, south. And it seems like there's some attacks here from the Russians. All right, let's start with the Ukrainian article. The General Staff of Armed Forces of Ukraine said that this is in this operational update published on Facebook, Ukraine Forum reports. During the current day, the enemy launched 8 missile attacks and 28 airstrikes, including 12 attacks with the use of Iranian-made Shahin 136 UAVs. This is interesting. I'm telling you why. 2 days ago, the British intelligence, the one that you can trust, the ones that brought us the intelligence on Iraq, if you remember, they said that the Russians are running out of Shahid because they haven't been using them in the past week or so. So they're running out. And now look at this, 12 attacks with the use of Iranian-made. I think the Ukrainians also reported that, the Russians are running out of it. I said, well, okay, that's make-believe. They carried out more than 50 attacks using multiple launch rocket systems. The threat of missile strike throughout the territory of Ukraine remains high, end quote, the report says. It is noted that the enemy is focusing main efforts on conducting offensive operations in Kupiansk, Liman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Shakhtarsk directions. That is right here. Right here where you see the black points, this is where the troops, the Ukrainian troops and Russian troops, they meet. The red ones, the red bullets are the Russians' attacks meaning shelling. Here the blue ones are the Ukrainian shelling. The yellow is where the Ukrainians' drones are blown up by the Russians. All right, so here blue, this is Artemovsk is Bakhmut. Look what's going on right here. If they break right here, it's going to be encircled. I'm waiting for that. And Kramatorsk is already under attack. So, and this is another offensive of, this is where the offensive goes, basically, in Luhansk, Donetsk regions. So, let's go back to the Ukrainians. And he says that as well as an increasing the number of personnel in these areas. So, the Russians are bringing troops over there, more troops. According to the available information, up to 200 conscripts from the Rostov region were relocated to the temporarily occupied territory of Luhansk region. Luhansk region right here. So let's make it like this. This is Luhansk region right here. Okay, now they go starting from the north, going, as I said, northeast, east, southeast, south. In the Volyn-Polisia, Siverchnia, and Slobozanichnia direction, no formation of offensive groups were recorded. In the border districts of Bryansk and Kursk regions, the enemy conducts engineering equipment of the area, including anti-tank ditches. So they are talking about Sumy region is right here. This is Kursk region. This is Kursk Oblast in Russia, and they're talking about this area right here. It seems like here the Ukrainians did something. Let's see what they did. Bryansk Governor Alexander Bogomaz reported that Ukrainian forces shelled the village. A resident house caught fire. There are no casualties. Oh, I thought the Ukrainians are not destroying civilian infrastructure, but hey, the Russians must be lying. Now let's see. During the day, the enemy, which is the Russians, launched mortar and artillery attacks on settlements of Krinivka and Yelina in Chernihiv region. Now, Chernihiv region is Chernigov region, but the Russians say we just hit this one, and this is not in Chernihiv. This is by Kiev. Russian forces destroyed a Ukraine Armed Forces Electronic Intelligence Center by Kiev, right here. So this is probably a little response of that attack on Minsk base right here. Well, it doesn't go that way. Minsk right here. That the Belarusian resistance successfully conducted, destroying that A-50 reconnaissance spy plane. All right, so it says here that Budivelne, Hirik, Atisnia, all this in Sumy region, again, came under mortar and artillery attacks. This is in Sumy, and then it says in Kharkiv region as well. So the Russians, according to the Ukrainians, conducted in this area, pam, 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 that we don't see anything here. It's not nothing, it's just here. This is the only one that would be in Kharkiv Oblast, where the Russian, actually this is Ukrainian drone or something that was hit. Let's see what's over there. Russian air defense shot down a Ukraine drone. I don't see any, but this thing here, where the Russians attack. Forces of the Zapad group destroyed UAF, Ukrainian Armed Forces troops and military equipment. So this is where they focus on this. Gryanikovka, Kharkiv region, forces of Zapad troops and military equipment. So this is where they focus their little attack. Now, it's a little bit different. The names of the towns in the Ukrainians, for instance, right here, when they say in Kharkiv, or let's say Chernihiv, and they give you these names over here. If I look over the Russian map, I don't find them because they have different names. For instance, right here, Artemovsk, just as an example, this is the Bakhmut. Now, from Artemovsk to Bakhmut, find it if you can. Then you have Marinka here, or you have Ugledar. Ugledar is obviously Vuhledar, no? Find the Vuhledar. Fighting is taking place in the city outskirts. Forces of the Vostok group hit Ukraine Armed Forces units. Denis Pushilin, the acting head of the Donetsk People's Republic, said that the Ukrainian forces were constantly trying to counterattack in the Vuhledar direction, but they failed. Remember, both sides lie. So this is just what they say. In the Kupiansk and Liman directions, the enemy carried out several unsuccessful offensive. That is in the northeast, in this area right here. All right, so let's move back here. In the Bakhmut direction, that's Artemovsk, the enemy shelled settlements including in Donetsk region. The enemy continues, so they say that in the Bakhmut, the enemy just shelled settlements. This is what the Ukrainians say. And if we go by the Russians in Artemovsk, they say fighting is taking place in the cities. So they say that after blowing up the dam, the chances of Ukrainian forces getting into encirclement have significantly increased. All roads to Artemovsk, which is Bakhmut, are under the fire control of Russian forces. They are destroyed. They also destroyed an ammunition depot of the Ukraine Armed Forces 72nd Separate Mechanized Brigade. So it seems like the Ukrainians cannot get out because from Artemovsk anymore, from Bakhmut, since they probably are under the, as they say here, under the fire and control of the Russian forces of all roads So let's see if we make like this. So this is going to come over like this, probably this is going to come over like this, and then we're going to have a Mariupol Azovstal number 2 here, unless the Ukrainians somehow get out of there. Now, in the enemy, which is the Russians in this case, is the Ukrainian article, continues to attack the Ukrainian position in Avdiivka and Shakhtarsk direction. Avdiivka is south of Artemovsk, is right here, Avdiivka, right here. So in Avdiivka, it says fighting is taking place in the city outskirts. Denis Pushilin, the acting head of the Donetsk People's Republic, said that the Russian units had significantly improved their position. In Marinka here, this is Russians' unit were advancing. Okay, so it's taking place in the western part of the city, western part, so right here. Let's see what the Ukrainians say about Avdiivka and Marinka. They say the enemy continues to attack the Russians in Avdiivka and Shakhtarsk directions. In Zaporozhye direction, Russian forces shelled the areas of 17 settlements. So basically they say, well, in Zaporozhye, which is this right here, what these guys, the Russians did, they just attacked here. Bombarded, Russian forces destroyed the Ukraine Armed Forces ammunition depot in Chervonoye. Let's see what this guy said in Chervonoye. No, they didn't say the 17 settlement. Now in the Kherson direction, which is in the south, Kherson being in the right here, this is Kherson right here. And the city of Kherson is right here by where the Donetsk River goes into the Black Sea, right here, Kherson. So in the Kherson region, more than 20 settlements of Kherson region located on the right bank of the Dnieper River came under enemy fire, including Berovne, Borislav, Vesele, Tikhnia, Antonivka, and the city of Kherson. So the Ukrainians said, well, these guys attacked these little things, which probably is more than that. And all this blue is the Ukrainian attack on the Russian positions, okay, on the left bank. They don't say anything about it, the Ukrainians, obviously. I don't know why, but according to the General Staff, the Ukrainian Air Forces launched 4 strikes on the areas of concentration of enemy personnel and military equipment. In addition, during the current day, Ukrainian soldiers destroyed 9 out of 12 Iranian-made UAVs of the Shahed 136 type and 1 UAV of the Zala type. Units of the rocket forces and artillery hit a Russian command post and manpower cluster, as well as their air defense system position. Okay, so as reported from February 24, 2022 until February 27, 2023, the defense forces of Ukraine eliminated about 148,690 Russian soldiers. Oh my. So this is their, as I said, it's war. They both exaggerate the enemy's losses, they exaggerate their successes, they downplay the enemy's success, and obviously they downplay their losses. So at least I'm trying to bring from both sides a general view on the front. What the Ukrainians are not denying is the advancing attempts on 5 fronts would be, as I said, Avdiivka, Liman, Bakhmut, and then you go down to Vuhledar. They didn't even mention Vuhledar in this article. Well, Red Rover. But we have the Bakhmut, where it seems like over there those guys, the Ukrainians, will be encircled, according to the Russians. On the other hand, yesterday I made a video on an article where Zelensky dismissed was not the joint, but it was chief of staff, it was a general, colonel general from, I know, I reported that, according to the Ukrainians, from exactly that area where the Russians are advancing. So the situation over there, I think it becomes dire for the Ukrainians daily as the war progresses. We'll see when the Ukrainians receive all the weapons from the guys from the West, and see how that's going to change anything. probably going to run out of personnel by then, or maybe not. We'll see. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.